I'm proud to welcome Young for Life Wellness as Fargo Talk's newest sponsor. Hey, can you guess who isn't the fitness influencer?
Welcome to Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talk.
Fargo Talks.
This is Fargo Talks.
Well, Phil, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you. And so where are we? Let's give everyone a kind of a description of where we are.
We are on Las Vegas Boulevard at Divine Dosa, which is one of the premier Indian restaurants on the Strip. And they specialize in dosa, which is a fermented rice batter made into like a thin, savory pancake. And have you ever had one?
No.
Okay. So I'm excited for you to try some of this.
No, I love it.
And it's a big space right by Encore. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on again.
It's my pleasure. Well, I think that, and I wanted to have you back on because I wanted to give my audience more of a perspective of where you're coming from, because you're a content creator. Sometimes it's organic, sometimes it's paid, and you're one of the few content creators in Las Vegas that's not batshit crazy. Okay, and so because of that, I'm like, either you have good meds or a great therapist. Kudos to both if that's what you're doing. Mazel. But I wanted to talk to you about, first, how did you get into being a content creator?
Well, first of all, thank you for all the kind words. Yeah. There are a few more normal content creators than perhaps maybe the guests that you've had.
There's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, probably.
That's it, though. That's it.
But I think because I started later in life, I am a bit older than the average content creator. I think that professional experience kind of segued into all of this. And I think people want to work with me more because I am professional. I do answer texts. I do write a proper email and things like that. And that really helps a lot.
You always answer the phone almost every time, or you call me right back. That's wonderful. For sure. Like your customer service, like you're dialed in. It's great.
I love to keep the inbox at 0 at all times. I love to answer all the phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave anything hanging. I just want to get it done and answer things right away.
What year did you start creating content and how'd you get into it?
Sure. So my wife and I moved to Vegas in 2006. And what happened was I had a swing shift job. So I was constantly scouring for late night spots for dinner after 11 p.m. at midnight. Back then, Yelp was the only way really to find anything. And so that's when I kind of caught the writing bug, started writing reviews on Yelp. Eventually around 2010, I became like Yelp famous, where people really sought out my reviews. I started getting recognized for writing those reviews, which was crazy at the time. And then fast forward around 2016, that's when I noticed like the original 10 influencers, like Unlocked, like Ryu Sauce, like Happy Tummy 702, Eat Me Las Vegas, kind of presenting food in a unique and different way. So instead of writing about the entire experience, like a review, I could just they could just focus on one dish. I loved this. And that's what really piqued my interest into getting into that format. So I started taking Instagram seriously around 2017. And then fortunately, some things kind of went viral. Lots of lobster, lots of crab, lots of butter. And I was able to quit my job in 2019 and do this full time.
It's great.
Yeah.
When did you get to the point where you're like, I love this. I love what I'm doing right now?
Probably early on, because I was going out anyway. I was doing all this fine dining anyway, so why not document it? And I say this all the time. Without social media, I'd still be going out and doing all these crazy dinners. So it was just part of my life anyway. It still is. I made my hobby my job. And that's, I pinch myself all the time. When I kind of have time to reflect on what's going on, if I talk to my friends out of town, they're like, you're fucking doing this? Like, what the hell? And it's hard to like reflect because as you're going day through day, day to day, like I'm sure you understand, it's just become like the norm. And it's kind of crazy that it is.
My dad told me a long time ago, every day you work for someone else is a day wasted. And as soon as you can go to a 1099, for yourself, you're working for yourself, it's the scariest, but the most rewarding job you can ever have. Right?
100%.
And to be a content creator is especially in Vegas, which we're the sports and entertainment capital of the world. We're it. I don't care. Fuck you, Orlando. We're it. And because of that, a lot of times I'll see comments, not on yours, but they're content creators that, oh, well, this person's getting paid, but they're acting like they're not getting paid. How do you navigate those waters? Because you do it very well.
Thank you for saying that. And a few people have said that to me as well. It has to be someplace I'm really into going to, first of all. I mean, I get pitched all the time, reached out to by restaurants, and a lot of times my answer is, you know what? I would never actively eat here without social media, so why would I fucking post it? But I understand everyone's got a different situation. Maybe they're a single parent with 3 kids, so they need to pay the bills.
Right.
Where I've turned down lots of money to not do things.
What's the most amount of money you've ever turned down, and why?
It was $10,000, and because I don't use the product and I thought it was trash. But I need to stick to my guns. I need to look at myself in the mirror and still like that guy. And it's getting tougher. Some of the pictures that I've seen on the email, I'm like, oh my God, maybe I should be wearing this watch. Maybe I should be promoting this office chair. Holy shit. But maybe I'm just being a snob. Maybe I need to open up the floodgates, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that you're comfortable, like your thing is food.
Yeah.
And good cocktails, right? Like that's it. That's your lane. So if someone comes to you and says, hey, I have a Swatch watch from 1994, we're bringing them back with United Colors of Benetton.
I wear 6 on a wrist.
All the other horse shit. Oh my gosh, we'll start watching House Party with Kid and Play and do the whole thing. Thank you very much for that one. I think that for you, you're like, no, that's not my thing. There's plenty of other content creators that are out there that are happy to take your money.
True.
But you do it with stuff that you believe in yourself. And I think that's very unique. A lot of people are just whores and they're going to take the money. I think if I was offered 10 G's, I could fucking like something really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife didn't like that decision. But, ultimately, if I feel passionate about it, if I can back it, then I feel comfortable posting it. Obviously. And unfortunately, there's been places where I go spend 2 hours and shoot everything, and then I finally taste the food and it fucking sucks.
What do you do then?
I tell them it sucks and here's why I'm not posting and here's your money back.
Which is the most admirable thing you could do, Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, not only to give them feedback to go, hey, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich the bread was stale, the peanut butter was moldy, whatever. And here's your money back.
Yeah.
Speaks volumes to who you are, because then how can they shit talk you?
For sure.
Like literally, how could they shit? Oh my,
hi, how are you?
Have here?
This is Chicken 65. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm fortunate to be in that position where I do make enough money with social media content and paid posts that I can do that. A lot of people aren't. So I understand. I'm not going to be judgy to someone that does endorse something perhaps that they weren't that into. And there's certain influencers I have to ask them on the side, like, hey, how was this honestly? Which kind of sucks, but it's kind of the way it is.
Do you think that there's going to be eventually a thinning of the herd of content creators? Thank you. Because there's a ton right now, dude.
I don't think so
there's
at
a
all.
shitload.
I think there's a whole group that's just bubbling under that are 16, 17, 18, in 5 years, they're going to make a huge splash. And I'm going to be the curmudgeon saying, oh yeah, back in my day.
Well, let's talk about this for a second, and then we'll keep our chat going.
Sure. So this is Chicken 65. The story is that it was made by a hotel in India, kind of like a Indian Asian fusion. So think of like a cross between orange chicken, tandoori chicken, and some spice.
Okay.
And so Indian Asian fusion is very popular with the Indian crowd. They can make great Indian food at home. So this kind of fusion stuff kind of popped up in Mumbai maybe in 20 years ago. And it's been a big hit. And this is one of the best starters here. I don't know how spicy it is. How is your
It's fine.
spice?
I'm good.
Okay.
We talked about it. I'm middle of the road as long as it's not like the chicken wing podcast guy. Like, I can't do that. That's
Right.
crazy.
That is crazy.
Like, I did a lot of like Durkee Red Hot growing up on everything, and then felt like my esophagus is like, fuck you, Jeff. What are you doing?
Totally.
You know,
totally.
like I can't. That I can't do. But
Sweating
this I
on
could
a
try.
podcast is not fun. Having that
Dude,
steamy
no,
underneath thing, which has happened to me, unfortunately, is not fun.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, so they do a paneer version, which is the Indian cheese, and they do a lamb version as well.
Jesus.
And
That's
I really like
fantastic.
this. Yeah.
Nice job. First one, thumbs up. Good job.
Mm,
I'll see from the plate. Fuck it.
so good.
With content creation, how do you, when you're putting out your content, differentiate between I'm just posting because I like this company, I like this service, I like this food, compared to this is a client of mine and I'm running their social media, doing their social media, posting, and this is a paid post. Do you do that at all?
Do I do paid posts for the restaurant? Yeah, of course. Of course.
And do they know that it's you during the post?
Yes. I tried. I mean, we as in me and my wife, our agency, we run a lot of restaurants around town.
Okay.
But I try to go out of my way to make it feel. I don't want to tell anyone I run it. I don't want people to know that I run it. I want
Smart.
it to be a separate thing. And holy hell, the 4-foot dosa is here.
Jesus H. Christ on a popsicle stick.
Yeah.
I should have fasted for like 3 days. Holy moly.
Thank you.
I've got a lot of like phallic jokes going on right now. I'm not going to say a word. Thank you very much.
Well, we got biryani as well.
Holy moly. It's hilarious. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I'll move this over.
Now I got our little sauce. This is great. I'm sweating just looking at all this stuff.
I know. I should have worn short sleeves.
It's a good thing that my Fargo see dry fit. This is why.
I know.
Fuck
I
the
know.
gym. This is for when you come and you have a dosa. my armpit sweat will be down to my hamstrings pretty soon. This is crazy.
Thank you.
Oh my god!
Oh, wow.
Put that right over. Give that to him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, give it to Phil because we'll figure this whole thing out here.
Then maybe we just cut it off here. I think this will be enough food. Tikka masala. Okay.
Of
all
course
right,
it
great,
is, as
great.
it should. How
Okay.
dare you, Phil?
Do we have any space? I'm gonna have to hold it. Well,
We're running out.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. The Indians know how to party. If this
They
is,
do.
this is-
They do.
Come on, man.
So this is what's gone viral for them, the 4-foot dosa. They do a 6-foot one as well
As they
on these
should.
custom plates. And it's great for a group.
So, what is a dosa?
So a dosa is a savory pancake made with fermented rice. And you can do like different fillings, different mixes of things. Like
Love
they
it.
add masala to it or Mysore to make it a little spicier.
Looks like a crepe almost.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Same
a good way
consistency of a
to
crepe.
explain it. And then these are all just the condiments and accoutrements for the dosa.
Okay.
Hot sauce, sambar, a coconut chutney, potato. And so you kind of just rip and dip as you
Okay.
please.
I'll let
and
you
fill it in.
lead, and I'll just follow your lead.
Okay.
This is hilarious.
Or maybe we should just start eating on the sides.
Oh, like Lady and the Tramp?
Right. Okay.
The spaghetti.
Yeah, I'll go this
Yeah,
way.
you go ahead. You go ahead, sir. This is hysterical.
No. It's just gonna-
We're getting it's dosa with Phil and Jeff.
I'm
Here
going
we
to do
go.
a little ASMR, I guess, with the crunch.
Brittany and Chiron just got back from Young for Life Wellness. And now they're glowing so much, I'm starting to look like a before picture in a moisturizer commercial.
You want some tips, Jeff?
I prefer sarcasm and good lighting. Holy moly.
So it's good to try it first. Kind of has like a slight Parmesan-y flavor to it because of the fermentation. But one of the most popular street foods in all of India, if not the most popular.
This is.
Yeah.
So for you, you had the greatest job in the entire world. Literally. Like,
I do feel like I found a cheat code to life, and I was lucky about that. And going back to what you said about the best thing ever to do is work for yourself, but taking the leap, having the courage to do it is really tough for the majority of people in the world.
It's fear of being uncomfortable.
Fear of the unknown.
Right? Fear of the unknown. And that you need to be confident enough in what you bring to the table that you're going to be okay. That no matter what, and if you got to eat rice and beans and Spam and fucking government cheese for a while, you're going to do that, but you get through that and you just don't stop. You know, you go to another restaurant and do more content and stuff like that. What is the best way for someone to retain your services? Don't serve shitty food.
And the product has to be ultimately the best thing. But as far as for like a long-term partnership, the owner can't be batshit crazy. I can't get texts at 3 a.m. talking about something about the restaurant or how it's not busy or things like that. And so in a lot of ways, you know, they feel like they're interviewing me. I'm interviewing them to see if I want to talk to them.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge thing. And there are a lot of batshit crazy restaurant owners in Vegas.
No.
Can you imagine? Being a restaurant owner is one of the toughest things, especially in Las Vegas. You've entered the Olympics of restaurants.
Well, that's it.
And it's just incredible.
What's the average life expectancy for a new restaurant in Vegas, do you think? Like a year? 2
I
years?
think that's what they're saying, 9 months to a year.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you got to make a splash really quick. You got to be known for something. If you see the front of it, like Divine Dosa is easy. They're famous for the 4-foot dosa. They can identify that even if they don't eat here.
Oh, my God.
And so you like that?
Oh, my God. Cash the check, man. That's
Awesome.
so good. And the seasoning's perfect.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm glad,
seasoning's
of course.
perfect. And then how do you get into doing collaborations with other content creators? I don't want to say influencers. I think it's just a trashy term.
Or foodies. You know, it just has become the term. People just understand.
Good point.
And I hate
Become
that
the term.
word as well.
Good point.
So for Vegas content creators, it's a very small knit group. I think a lot of people on the outside view us as competition between each other, but we are discussing a lot of stuff behind the scenes all the time, be it money or brands or just, I feel fortunate to have access to some of the best content creators in Vegas and just kind of pick their brain on what was this approach on this post? Why were you thinking this way? I never would have thought about it this way. And it was super successful for you. That's the whole reason why I started my podcast selfishly, was to be able to pick the brains of some of the best creators. I studied my ass off on their content and then just kind of deep dived into it. If anyone watched it, great. If not, I don't care either. I benefited from it greatly as my content has changed completely in the last 5 years. It changes all the time. It's an ever ongoing evolution.
I've noticed, because of now befriending you and Jenny and Drew and Heather, and I'll keep dropping fucking names, which is hilarious that I can do that now, which is weird. It's weird, dude. Is that the big challenge I see is a restaurant will hire 3 content creators. And next thing you know, Jimmy's Chicken Wing Shack, my feed is inundated with literally the same content from 4 different content creators. And it's like, no, hire Phil first, do a 3-month campaign or a 6-month campaign, then talk to Drew and hire him. Right? Right? Like, is that, am I right with that?
Yes, and that is definitely happening more. I do see Jen and Lindsay and Drew more often because we are doing the group thing. A lot of restaurants just want like the full on blast. But I think strategically, it's better to stagger them out.
Yeah.
For sure. Have one of us post once a month instead of like the full blast. Although the full blast totally works. Farm Basket being the most notable example recently of going from, I think they were at like 800, 1,200 a day. Now they're at like 10,000 a day.
You guys are all over Farm Basket. Like all over. Like, I'm not a big fried chicken guy, but I'm like, my wife, I'm like, we should probably go try some fried chicken now because all these people are, blasting it out there. I thought, does Drew own that?
He has a partnership with them.
That's what I thought. Good for him. I mean, good for him. I think that you're the most well-liked and extremely successful I think he's the smartest guy in the room when it comes to content creation.
Absolutely. I always walk away from a conversation with Drew learning something new, even now.
Yeah.
And, even back then when I was first starting, he had 100K followers. He was like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm fucking talking to this guy. And continues to still be, he was top dog then, still the top dog now. And
Absolutely.
it's a testament to him and his perseverance. And I think in content creation, for anybody, including this podcast, you have to have an innate, just something inside you that wants to just do this on a reasonable level. And I think a lot of people in content creation don't understand that. They want to get into it, but they don't understand, I'm doing a voiceover at 2 a.m. because I just feel like I need to get it out.
We can also talk in a second about podcasting too, because you have a great fucking podcast.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's solid. And
appreciate it.
You're welcome. And it's something that people just see. It's like the tip of the iceberg. And all they see is like, oh, here I am with, Fargo Talks and here's this and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. Then you got to go and you got to edit the shit and you're going to voice over and there's the lighting right. And no, I got to filter it. And like, people don't understand. And also you have thousands of reps, thousands of videos you've deleted.
Yes.
For the one that you're posting now is like hundreds of thousands for you that you've looked at and gone, it's not good. Because that's how well also your audience and how well your audience is going to fit with whatever type of content you are pushing out on behalf of a brand or for you.
True.
People don't understand that. I mean, it's the same thing for podcasting where I'll get people that will say, it'll be like a Thursday, slide on my DMs. I'm in town this weekend. I want to come on your podcast on Saturday.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And who the fuck are you?
I don't know you. Not like, there's no like, hey, been watching your stuff for a while. Loved your episode with blah, 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 blah. Yeah. None of that. It is the laziest path of least resistance that people could make to say, oh, I want to go ahead and just take full advantage of you. No, thank you.
All right.
No. Like, at least like say, I saw the podcast with whomever, that episode with whoever, love that. I resonated because of this, this, and this. I'm going to be in town on this date. This is me and what I bring to the table. Could we possibly have a conversation on your podcast? Then I'm going to give you a look. And I don't care if you have 100,000 followers or not then. If you're someone that's good, a lot of my stuff that's gone viral isn't somebody with a big, like, you don't know, but if you have somebody who has a big audience, a lot of times if you do a collaboration, the numbers go up for both of us. It's a win-win.
True.
Mazel. You know who's the best at that? Drew.
Yes.
Drew accepts every single collab and puts it to his stories and lets it go into his feed as well. There's none better than Drew Belcher.
I agree.
Right? Like,
I agree. He's the man.
It's the most selfless thing you could do because, and you're by the way, you're a close second. Everyone else is like, Jenny will do, you're welcome. Jenny will do some, Heather, no, unless it fits. Like, she's like 9, 12, 6 or whatever, which is fine. I'm not throwing shit at you, Heather. It's just how she is.
It's their account. That's how they want to run it.
It's her. It's like you own a piece of real estate and this is your business. And these are your hours of operation, what you're going to do. And I totally respect that from a guy that's just, I'm just a podcaster and that's it. But it's nice to have people on and like, I'm going to send a collab invite and they're going to go ahead and take it and they're going to run with it. I don't have to do all of them, but to do like 1 or 2 is awesome because that's validation of what my team is doing and what I'm doing to go for someone that has a big brand to go, yeah, Jeff, no problem. Happy to put this under my umbrella, for this piece of content. That's like the best compliment you can get. And people don't understand that part of the podcasting is a lot of it is the collaborations you're doing with your guests. But also it's just because someone has 200,000 followers on TikTok and they accept your collab on TikTok doesn't guarantee it's going to go viral.
True.
Right? And people don't understand that. I think that people think that because you have such a large audience, everything you put up is gold. Like, do you get that from clients? Do they see that?
Yeah. I think how to explain this in a better term. People will say they're a big fan of you,
right,
or whatever, but they've probably maybe they probably don't watch all the content. They saw like 10 pieces or 5 pieces, and they'll just say, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I love your work." And so I think, just as long as you sporadically have those big viral moments and get the momentum rolling, and that's kind of how everything will kind of snowball from there.
How long was it when you got your first viral clip or viral piece of content?
So I don't remember when or how that happened. I was actually talking to a UNLV class, and someone asked me that, like, what is your biggest,
I love that,
most best performing post ever? And my answer was, well, first of all, if that's what matters to you, I would suggest getting a passport and seeking out some life experiences, because if you're hanging your head on that,
True.
your life is fucking shallow as fuck. And so,
good point.
But the critic in me, I look at the posts that bomb and wonder what I could have done better. I don't really, if it hit 3 million, if it hit 10 million, great. But I'm not like sitting on my shit over that.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
When I have one that pops, I start shitting my pants. Then it's like, oh, fuck. Now it's like, I have another one that gets, 500,000 or 1 million views.
Yep.
And like, I have one, Nurse Erica. She's a nurse, and she's an advocate for nursing, and she's phenomenal. And I had her on, and I told the other day, I said, you're an annuity for me, because there's 2 clips of her talking about nursing that I get 5 to 10 shares a day. And I reply to literally every time someone shares my comment to their stories. If they're doing that, I have to respect them. I just feel that need to give them that kind of respect. I always say thank you with the prayer hands emoji and the clapping hands thing going. And I always do that. But I'm like, honey, you're an annuity for me. And we did that like months ago. But there's some that just keep going. The one I have with Brandon about strip joints, top 3 strip joints in town, 7.6 million.
Goes up.
It's still going.
Shout out to Chica Bonitas.
Shout out to Chica Bonitas. And whenever someone says Chica Bonitas, and the fire emoji, I always do the like darker skinned woman in the red dress emoji. I had like 10 of them.
Oh my God.
For thick Latinas.
Right.
I've never been there. I'll probably never go there. I don't do strip joints.
Yeah, I'm not going there either.
But the way Brandon, his delivery to say like Sapphire, the Walmart of strip clubs,
right,
at number 3, number 2, Spearmint Rhino. And like the setup was good, but the answer. And that's where Brandon he spent so much time with his phone, and he is, to me, the everyman content creator in Las Vegas. If you're looking for something off the strip, Brandon from Vegas is the guy you want to follow.
I agree.
You think so?
I agree. Every time I go around with him, people call me the mayor of Las Vegas. He's like the true mayor of Las Vegas. I walk around and it's like he's a politician, shaking hands, kissing babies. And I love watching that happen. His way of shooting is, a lot more real than mine, which is post voiceover, kind of like quicker edits and things like that. And I think so many people just love it. It's the realness, and they gravitate towards it.
Drew had a great line, and it was on your podcast when you had all the content creators, influencers on. He referred to Brandon. He's like, well, Brandon is out there, and he referred to some random dish that Herbs and Rye serves, and part of that dish is like in Brandon's beard as he's been. And I'm like, it's true though. Yeah, that's Brandon.
Yeah,
he did one this morning. It's like he's in bed. He's in bed and just slinging it. I love the fact that he gives 0 fucks, because there's some of the content creators in town, I think, paralysis analysis, and they overthink stuff. And, oh, how about this? How do I look here? And what about this? And do I have my face on it? Do I not have my face on it? Voiceover. He's just like, record, and here I am, and here's this, and this is what's going on, and that's it. And he's been doing it forever.
A lot of ways, catering to your own followers can be your biggest trap. If you're constantly thinking about, what are they going to think? How are they going to react to this? And then you just kind of get in your own head, and you take less risks and things like that. If you're kind of pandering to them, I'm not thinking about the followers that I have now. I'm trying to get the people that don't follow me. And that's how I approach ideally every single post, even with my clients. I'm not here to pander to the actual followers. They're gonna stick around, and I'm grateful for that still. But I'm looking towards, the next horizon.
I do the same thing for a variety podcast. I'll have I had a plastic surgeon that's going to drop pretty soon. It's awesome. This guy, Dr. Cena, who's in Summerlin, and he did like his residency. He was in Beverly Hills. He was in New York City. Like this guy's legit, and he drops bombs on what people should be looking for. And he doesn't throw shade on other like plastic surgeon influencers.
Okay.
But he really just says, here's the red flags. This is what you should be looking for. Hire me, don't hire me. I don't care. Here's people that I love in the country. Here's the best doctors in the country that I would go to if I was going to have a procedure done. It was so good. You do that. I've got one dropping pretty soon. These people are out of Phoenix. They flew in. They have a sugar baby podcast. So it's a guy and the girl, and the girl wanted complete anonymity. So I talked to Scott Vera, Level 9 Studios. Shout out to Scott Vera, the best podcaster in town. You go anywhere else, you're fucking dead to me. And sorry, not sorry. Shout out to Drew Belcher. And so she wanted to be totally anonymous because of whatever. And I respect that. So Scott pixelated her and we're going to disguise her voice. And so it's like 60 minutes, like from the 80s.
What the hell is a plastic surgery influence? Like, how many times can you get your chin done?
Oh,
how
it's
many
big.
times?
It's
really
big, Phil. It's fucking.
I might have to deep dive into this.
Big.
I didn't know that was a thing.
There's even, the funny part is that like you've got like Dr. Cena, we're talking about, he might hire me to help him out with his content creation because it just went so well with what we're doing. I'm like, we could do this. Like and he understands, he sees that other people are out there doing it and they have people when you see something is either professionally done or they've got somebody behind the camera telling them what to do. You can just tell.
For sure.
Right? If you get doing this for a while. He knows that that's the future of where everything is going. I mean, our president, love him or hate him, he got elected because of podcasts. I mean, he got the 20-something vote. 20-somethings don't vote. They never vote. But when he's on Rogan and Sean Ryan, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, like all these hardcore 23 to 34-year-olds, and Trump just gets up there and slings it. They voted for him. And so now the smart people, I think it's starting to trickle down. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing more people now that I'm talking to that would have never talked to me 6 months or a year ago.
Very true.
Right?
Yeah, I've had both Nevada senators on mine, and that was definitely a trip to do that. And I felt fortunate to kind of, and I think your advice is great. You got to, and Scott was telling me this before we started a show, break out of food and social media, try different things.
Everything.
Yeah.
And to me, it always comes down to, I want somebody sitting across from me. It's someone I'd go out for a drink with. It's someone that back when I was single, I still say at Hank's, their dirty martinis are the best in town. Their happy hour is amazing. They have that bang bang cauliflower, whatever it is over there. I'm like, oh my God, it's fantastic. And so I want that. But there's cameras and lights and microphones and we're just shooting the shit.
For sure.
That's all I want. But it's people from a wide spectrum now is who I'm having come on. And like to do this, and we've talked about this, to say that this would be a monthly thing. We'll pick a different restaurant in town. If you got restaurants we want to hit up, you want us to hit up, let us know in the comments where you'd like to see Phil and I. I mean, this is two staggeringly attractive bald men here. Look at like the different types of, demographics we hit. Basically, it's all people that are attracted to bald men that kind of know what they're talking about. That's really the only fucking demographic we're going to have, Phil.
That's true.
Rest of it can fucking eat.
It's all right.
Go eat a bag of dicks.
What does Fargo do for Valentine's Day?
That's a great question. My wife, and we just got married December 1st. So we're still thank you. So still newlyweds. We're actually going back and forth now on what to do. Because I'm like, where do I take her? And I want to take her somewhere nice. I don't want it to be where it's going to be $1,000 for both of us. I just don't. It's just that makes no sense to me. It's not that I can't afford it. It's more of like,
should it be that day to do it? Like,
right.
A lot of the high-end restaurants are short-staffed, so they do a bullshit prefix dinner, and you can't order what you want, and it just sucks.
Where would you recommend I take her? Where do you think?
I like a lot of anywhere that's doing an a la carte menu is where I kind of go. Couple years ago,
Absolutely.
we actually went to Vetri, which is on top of the Palms.
Okay.
It's Mark Vetri's Italian restaurant. And that was terrific. And actually, few people were into that same idea too, because in our section was like 6 other influencers, but they're sitting in the same
Hilarious.
section. It was like an unplanned influencer shoot. Daniel Leo was there, Hooked LV was there, and we're all like,
I love
what
it.
the fuck? We're all just
So-
sitting here.
Give me your like top places to go in Las Vegas for Valentine's Day.
So if money doesn't matter, I'm going to go with 3. Top of the list, creme de la creme, is definitely Joel Robuchon. If you can get into that, I mean, holy hell. That, to me, is a premier French restaurant still on the West Coast, if not the country. I think Ito would be great. It's omakase on the top of Fontainebleau, $400 per person, offers a really nice view of the top of the tower and stratosphere in downtown. And that's a really great place, an awesome bar to hang out before and after. And number 3, I mean, it's got to be Italian, right? I mean, you got to,
Yeah.
it's kind of synonymous with Valentine's Day. So, I mean, if you can't get into Carbone, a local spot I really like is La Strega. Gina Marinelli does a great job. And it's a really just whimsical atmosphere. And that's a great spot for Valentine's Day for a local.
What are your top 3 romantic restaurants to go to on a budget?
What are we talking about? Under 30 per person?
No, under 50 per person.
Okay.
I'll open up a little bit for you.
Low key, the Sparklings, which has actually been around for a long time on South Rainbow. It's a Korean-owned Italian restaurant, and they actually do a happy hour.
Wait. Korean owned Italian. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there's
That's
some
awesome.
Korean mafia stuff going on
No.
with them. They also own Soyo, Goong Korean barbecue, and Yushang, and a bunch of other places. But that has been around, man, over 10 years now.
Okay.
And they actually offer a great happy hour, I think Monday through Friday. And so you can just do that instead. And that definitely won't break the bank. Another one for budget. It's weird. I don't really think about money anymore when I'm going out.
Well, because you're not paying. You know.
Well, even if I do, I don't mind. Let me see another budget spot. Double Zero Pie and Pub on Spring Mountain. They recently was awarded like a semifinalist thing for James Beard, and that's a really cool atmosphere as well. Neapolitan pizzas. Michael Vacnine does a really great job with that, so I would do that. And then number 3, probably in the same plaza, would be Partage. I think they do a great job with 5, 7, 9-course dinners, and that would easily be double off the strip. And I think that would be an excellent choice as well.
I have to take Brandy there. I've got to take my wife to Partage.
Yeah.
She's asked me about it already. I'm like, okay, honey.
For sure.
We'll go.
Yeah, the menu changes monthly, and Yuri and his staff do an amazing job.
Wow. What is your drop dead favorite restaurant in Las Vegas?
I get this
Number one.
question a lot, and it's really tough because it depends on what I'm in the mood for. But I'm going to give you 2. If it's just me and the wife, I would probably go to Joel Robuchon, to be honest, if I could. It's a harder reservation to get, but the experience is just so far and above anything else on the strip or in the city. If I'm with a group, I really love Momofuku. I love the feast, the entire crazy spread, the 5-spice roasted duck, the bosom, all that stuff. And obviously I got treated better thanks to Josh and Mags and the staff. But that would definitely be my one for group dining.
It's awesome. I
Yeah.
definitely want. I mean, we're talking about places, and we'll drop some announcements as Phil and I come up with some spots we're going to go to kind of keep this thing going. I would love to do Peking duck somewhere. Like where did you post? Was it from Venetian?
Mod 32. I've kind of hemmed and hawed. A lot of people ask me for the best Peking duck in Vegas, but I think the way Mod 32 does it is different than anyone else any place else in town. The preparation, the way they roast it, and it really shows in the final product.
And the way you capture it is just, dude, it's so fucking good. The lighting, the whole thing you've got going on, and it's
Thank
like I
you.
have goosebumps with that. It's just like, but it's working. What you're doing is working. I commented Paul the other day. He did something. I ate 2 gummies, so I said, take it for what it's worth, Paul. But he was very good at capturing, like, adding video as like another dimension of. I'm like, your post made me hungry. it made me want to go there. And his music was on point. Like he's somebody that like, you don't hear his name come up a lot, but I think he is one of the top content creators in town.
I agree. He's such a huge inspiration for me. And I would be friends with Paul even without social media. I feel like he's just a really great dude. And to have built, along with his cohorts, the biggest social media company in town, it's been amazing. I remember the first office was at Town Square. It was literally the corner of this room. Like 8 people would be crammed in there. We'd be taking portraits and all this other stuff. And to see what it is now and how so many people want to be a part of it and work with them, it's just incredible.
And it also just comes down to the stick-to-itiveness. You just keep going. And if you've got that passion, you just make it happen. There is no other alternative. Like like for you do what you do, and for like what I'm doing with the things taking off, I'm like, holy shit. And it's just, you have that moment where you're like, if the 18-year-old Phil or Jeff would look at where we are now and go, what? You're doing what?
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. I mean, the 5-year version of me, 5-year ago version of me would be jealous of me now.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to say. I know it's crazy to even think that, but it's true.
Do you ever go back to like some of your first like posts that you've done and be like I always like Gary Vee is always like his stuff with doing the wine business. And you look and they're awful. They're fucking awful. I like podcast episodes 1 through 10 are fucking train wrecks.
Right.
Just,
I don't feel like I need to cringe about old things. I kind of just turn the page and
good for you.
I'm trying to look forward. But yeah, there's a ton of that. How we were shooting posts in 2020 and video in 2020 with the 2x speed, the 3x speed, 5x speed. I mean, God, people doing that now, holy shit.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Do you, for your podcast, do you watch all your episodes?
I don't. How about you?
I didn't for a long time. I do now.
Okay.
Yeah, I do now. And I learn a lot. It is the best way for me to get better. That helps. With the other one is Scott Vera at Level 9. After every episode, I ask him, how'd I do? And he gives me, with idiosyncratic detail, like what I could do better. Or he says, no, dude, you're awesome. Let's do it again. And so I love that. I love it. I'll sit down with my wife and we'll watch like full episodes of my stuff. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I had to get to the gym. I've got more chins in the Chinese phone book.
I look at this all the time. And I'm like,
the waddle.
Fuck. And if I was as good about content creation as I would be about working out, I'd be shredded right now.
Please.
Holy hell.
Please.
And yes, that's definitely something. And I think you make a great point. Self-reflection, self-analysis is so important. And maybe I'm just afraid to face those facts.
My friend, I did the same thing for, this is now 2 years I've been doing this, 1.5 years. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And it was my wife said, you need to start watching your podcasts. Like, what, you don't watch them? Like, no, I just go on to the next one. She's like, well, how do you learn? How do you get better? Oh my God, you're right. She's a nurse. Like, okay. And so now, I watch them or listen to them. Like I'm going for a walk and I listen to it. And I always think I'm like, oh, I could do this better. Shut the fuck up and let the guest talk more. Or why didn't I follow up with this? Or why did I ask this question when we're already on a different path? Like I changed the whole vibe of the conversation with that question that I asked. So it's just things like that. But also I listen to other, like I love Rogan.
Yeah.
His
you
style.
gotta listen to the king,
Dude,
the top of the heat.
Style. Yeah. It's just so, and he's Mensa level smart. He's brilliant. And so I'm going to be that smart, but I try to pick up something from every single person I sit down and talk with. And I try to apply that to the next, episode I have and just do that. And then you just keep doing it. Like I told you we were on a call a couple of weeks ago. I was with my daughter, with my family. I got recognized twice. It was weird. Like, thank you. Like, I was very appreciative. Like, a woman came up to me at a performance I was at at my daughter's school, and she just comes right up and like gets right in my face. It was weird. I follow you on Instagram, and then walks away. Didn't give me a chance to say thank you. Nothing. And then went to Good Pie, and one of the bartenders there, it recognized me. Davey, great guy. And by the way, Good Pie is fucking awesome.
Love Good Pie.
Their food is phenomenal, and their customer service. I was there with my 9-year-old son 2 months ago, and the lady we had, the woman that we had as our server was fantastic. I'm there 3 weeks ago with my stepdaughter, my daughter, and my wife, and that server walks by and goes, "Where's your son?" She remembered.
Oh, wow.
She remembered,
Dang.
Phil. I'm like, oh my God, you're freaking good,
That's
man.
amazing.
Thank you. I will go somewhere with superior customer service and so-so food all day long, rather than go somewhere with great food and so-so customer service.
I feel opposite of that. Growing up with Chinese restaurants all the time, and they didn't give a shit about me anyway. I do feel different, but yeah.
It's something that, well, let's talk about that. Why? Why do you think you feel different?
Because the servers just didn't give a fuck back then.
Just didn't care.
So
Get it out.
So in my mind, as long as the food was good, it doesn't really matter as much.
So the food should just stand on its own. It doesn't matter about the presentation.
Yes, but I understand where you're coming from as well.
No, but
sure.
I know you do. I'm trying to get in your brain a little bit because I love that take.
Sure.
Because you're right. Like I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right. It's just a different way to look at it. I'm trying to get my brain around that. That's all.
I mean, a mediocre dinner is, 3 stars, 3 out of 5 stars is basically 2 stars to me. And I think nothing irks me more than a mediocre dinner. If we've gone out to do all this effort to go here to try a bunch of things and it doesn't pan out, then I'm probably the most annoyed.
What's the worst customer service experience you've ever had at a restaurant?
Wow, nobody's asked me that before. I think it wasn't really like an attitude. It was really just the length of time to receive food or anything. There was this Italian restaurant called Baccio at Tropicana. It was a comp dinner and it was supposed to be like a 7-course thing, but we were on like 2.5 hours in, and I don't think even the 3rd course came out yet. And we just cut it. We just had to leave and we're so annoyed. I had international guests with me and it was really embarrassing. So that was the one of note, but I'm trying to think, oh, fuck. They don't exist anymore, so that's fine. God, what was that place called? I don't remember. Somewhere in Henderson. Invited again, and I thought I was being punked. The first dish they bring out was meatballs. It was raw. I still have the photos. Second dish was like completely burnt. It was a crab cake. And then I ordered the double pork chop, and I looked at Ayumi, my wife, and I'm like, if this is raw, like, I'm going to flip the table. It looked like ahi tuna inside. I swear to God. I'm like, someone in the kitchen must want to fucking kill me. Like, they must hate my guts. And I got into it with the maitre d', and I was like, there's a bunch of people here. I'm like, someone could be in the hospital tonight. Like, what the fuck is going on? And the maitre d' was a complete dick. And I think that was definitely the angriest I had been ever leaving a restaurant. I sent an email to the PR person ASAP. I think it was in the parking lot. And I'll never get over that experience.
I think most people are afraid to send something back. What do you think
that's true.
Right? What do you think is the most polite, respectful way to send a dish back at a restaurant?
I don't think I'm very polite about it. But I would just clearly point out what was wrong with it, and I'd like another one, please. It's weird. A lot of people say that, and they make it their fault. Like, oh, maybe it's what I ordered. Maybe my experience wasn't as good. Fuck that shit. Like, if it's on the menu, it should be good. And if it's not, then why is it on the menu? It's not their fault.
I think that the number one time that someone questions themselves, even if they're the most like self-esteem, self-reliant, self-advocating motherfucker on the planet, if they get a prime rib and it's not the doneness that they wanted, they won't send it back. Where I grew up in the restaurant business. We had a 500-seat banquet facility. I was washing pots and pans at 8 years old to be near my mom. And I saw it done right. I saw it done wrong. And what I've always done is I always bring over the server and say, could you give me the highest ranking person that's here right now? And I always tell my kids know this from if it's like a diner subbing, whoever has the biggest set of keys
that's a good
is always the manager. right?
Yeah.
So what's like IHOP or something like that, or Waffle House, it's whoever's got
Very true.
whoever's got those keys, man, that's who's in charge. But for a higher end place, somebody with a suit, or if it's a lady, she's dressed nice, comes over and go, I just want to let you know. And I always start with, I don't want a comp. So that totally then dilutes, it takes that out of the equation.
That's a
because
good way
especially
to
here
do
in
it.
Vegas, right? Everyone here is
A
looking
lot
for
of
a
people are
freebie.
trying to, yeah.
And I always say, hey, I'm a local. I'm not looking for a comp, but the bone and filet I asked for, I wanted it medium, and I cut it open and say, is this medium to you? No, sir, I'm so sorry. Let me take that right now for you. That's what I've always done is I don't get emotional. I don't need the bravado of, I've been here. Do you know who I am? Fuck you. That's what they're saying. And it's all I want is what I've ordered. Exactly how I asked for it. That's all.
That's a good way to do it. I like that intro. I don't want to comp, because so many people trying to, get like an edge in and try to do whatever. And it's crazy.
99% of the time they comp it.
Yeah.
And bring you dessert and do everything else. And I'm like, I don't want, thank you, but it's not what I wanted. I just want my food. That's all. And I love the people that will say, it's not what I ordered. We want to send it back? No.
A lot of people like that.
Do you want me to go ahead and do it for you? No. People don't want that attention put. The big one I'll get from friends or family is, no, they'll spit in my soup or they'll spit in my salad. No, they won't.
No way.
They're professional.
Yeah.
And if you're a chef or even a sous chef, everything that goes out, in your opinion, in your mind, is a work of art. Everything is a piece of you. And if it's not perfect, you want to know that. Right?
True. I've been in the back of the kitchens where half portion has only been eaten, and the chefs are freaking out. They're like, what happened? We need to know immediately.
Well, and I've never done it, but I would do it to where if something wasn't great, to say, have the chef come out. I'm more than happy to talk to him or her.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give them that feedback. And I guarantee 100% of the time, I'm like, thank you. We'll get on that. We know we can do better. Because if you look at how many hundreds of covers are going out, at dinner, you can't bat 1,000. You're not going to get 100% of them correct. Right?
True. Unfortunately, that is the case.
You could do
tough.
a whole thing, a whole series on how to send food back.
No, for real.
Seriously,
that would be awesome.
You could do a whole series on and role play with whatever restaurant, and they bring something over and just go, this is how to send back pasta. This is how to send back a piece of fish, meat, salads, soups. You could do a different thing for everything.
That's true.
That's
true.
Take it.
That's a good idea.
By the time this drops, you could be on it, and then fuck all the other goddamn content creators in town. Come like, oh my God, Phil, how'd you get that idea? I'm like, I just thought of it.
Right.
All you got to do is this. They do the no answer, and they go, Phil, this is great. The whole Auto Return series. How'd you get that? Just go, this emoji. Just do that.
Sometimes my unsolicited advice, I tend to do this often, and sometimes it probably hurts to hear with restaurants or chefs or whatever, but I still feel like ultimately it's to make everything better.
Well, that's the thing, is that you care enough to want to make the investment back into what they're doing, and you're paying.
Right.
You're paying for this, and so they should be falling over you to take care of you, right? And so to do it in a way that's respectful, always. And like I said, lead with, I'm not looking for a comp, but I want to let you know.
I'm going to do that.
But these are my expectations. I expected a bone and filet medium, and say it's rare, and you cut it open, and you're like, what? And I said, this isn't my definition of medium. Is it yours? And then you leave it like that, and they go, and then it's not confrontational. And every time I've done that, they've been like, I'm so sorry. I'll get on that right now. And don't bring it back with the plate is fucking scorching hot because you put it in the broiler. Like, Jesus, don't do that to me. Because then I'll flip the fucking table.
Sure.
On that shit. But people also don't understand the passive aggressiveness of Google reviews.
Oh my God.
I'm over 40, 45 million views on I've been doing it forever. So I love it. And people will, the food wasn't good, but they won't send it back. They won't give feedback to the manager or the owners.
Just write a bad review.
Anything. They'll just write a bad review.
Yeah.
what are your feelings about people? Because I mean, you were doing, food reviews before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
When is it appropriate to leave a bad review for a business?
I mean, for me personally, if you've already spoke with them and the reaction was not good and nothing was corrected, I mean, that's really the only time. I rarely slag any restaurants. I a lot of times if I shoot and it's unsatisfactory, I just tell them why and why I'm not sharing any of the experience. Really, I only slag chains because they're kind of bulletproof. And if I had a bad experience, Texas Roadhouse, not bad, but very average, I'll say something there. But usually, I don't know. Google reviews is a very interesting thing that you bring that up, because I get DMs from my clients being like, hey, I'm a level 8. I'll post 50 pictures and all the shit for a comp dinner. So that's an interesting thing, that they view themselves also as influencers now and having to wield some kind of influence over people.
What's your feeling on Google reviews and restaurants?
I think it's important that the general public has a way to rate things. And generally the aggregate score is pretty accurate, I would say. And I think that matters more to me than a certain level of member and things like that. Do you follow members on Google reviews? Are there any?
Yeah. I mean, I might, but I'm not. What I'll do is just, if I see something cool, I'll give them some love and give them a review. And because I'm at level 8 or something, that I know, because I've seen it, if it's a smaller business, a smaller brand, that gives them SEO love.
Sure.
So, and you can do up to like 30 or 33 videos and pictures and all that. And so I'll go through and do videos and the whole thing. If I really, really had an outstanding, an outstanding meal, an outstanding experience, I'll blow them up. And I don't say a word. I just do it. And that's it. And next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, thank you very much. And it's also cool to see how and if they reply. If they're right on it, like within 24 hours, they're replying to that review. Bravo.
For sure.
You're on it, and thank you and good for you. But if there's nothing, you're like, oh, no wonder why.
Right.
And
I think Google reviews is definitely more important for the international crowd as well. And even when I go to Japan or London, things like that, like they press that stuff hard. And especially in Vegas, because so many international people, they don't have Yelp. They don't follow anybody. This is just the best way to know. As if it's 4.5 stars, then they can trust it.
I still look at Google reviews for everything.
Yeah.
I still do. I mean, even though I'll follow content creators about stuff, but I'm still going to look to see, and it's got to be more than 200. I need to see more than 200 reviews, and it's got to be 4 stars or more. Like even when I travel, I always will try to support a mom and pop place and avoid a chain, if at all possible. But the first place I'm going to look is Google reviews.
There's got to be some top, Amazon has those top creators and top influencers. There's got to be someone on Google that's got to be like a level 69 or some shit.
I think the top you can do is, I think maybe level 10. I think is the highest.
Okay.
Because I'm level 8, but I might do it now once or twice a month, maybe.
Okay.
I put stuff on.
Yeah.
But it's very powerful, and that's something a lot of people don't look at.
True.
In terms of content creators, you should be offering that service to your clients to go, I'll also put this stuff up on your Google business page. I think that gets overlooked a lot. And you're looking at the Meta platforms and TikTok and everything else. And YouTube,
very true.
Right?
Yeah.
Where, you should be putting Google in there as well, because people don't even think about that. So we shall see. This has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Always great to see you. Always great to shoot the shit, especially with great food. Thanks to Divine Dosa.
Thank you, Divine Dosa. This has been absolutely fantastic. And it's I don't need to shit my pants or anything right now. I have a mild oily T-zone. I'm not that bad. It's all good. So thank you, Divine Dosa. Thank you, Phil, for hopping on.
It was awesome.
Thanks, everybody.